Notes from Greenelsh number 283. Keep running. Happy New Year! If you're like most people over the past few weeks, you've probably been thinking about last year and the upcoming year. Maybe you've even started making some plans and setting some goals. I've been studying the book of 1 Corinthians in the Bible. It talks about what trusting and obeying God looks like in practical terms. It even describes faith in God as a race. So, for this week's note, I thought I would change the format slightly. My son, who is a runner, agreed to join us today. I have a few questions for him regarding running and faith, followed by a short poem that I wrote. Welcome, Weston.
Good morning.
Both of your sisters have been involved with this podcast in the past, so I'm glad we have this chance for you to be on the show too.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
How did you get involved with running?
Well, I first learned about running because our family ran in a couple community races, and then I saw my sister Grace running through middle school and high school, and she recommended it to me, and so I picked it up, and I'm a senior now, and I've been running ever since junior high.
What are your current plans with running?
Our cross-country team just finished up our season, and we've been working over the break training for the track season in the spring. That'll be the last season of running for high school. But after that, I'm still on the fence, but thinking about running in college for a couple different schools.
Yeah, it reminds me just that, running, people can run their whole life. That just brings us to the whole faith connection. Running really does relate to faith in God.
Yeah.
We've talked about this before, and I thought your insights might be helpful to others, whether they run competitively or just recreationally, or even if they don't run at all, and they just want to grow in faith. I have a few more questions for you to help explore this intriguing intersection of running and faith along life's journey. Does that sound good?
Yeah.
All right. Here's the first question. How are running and training similar to the journey of faith in God?
The Bible talks about the race of faith, and it's very similar to running a cross-country race, because as you run, it's not just about getting to the finish. It's also about the process and constantly staying in the moment. In a cross-country race, you'd rely on your motivation and drive and staying consistent. Similarly, in running the race of faith, you rely on Jesus and constantly go to Him. Otherwise, you won't finish the race.
What about, do you feel like running every day?
No, I definitely don't feel like running. So that's definitely similar, because you don't always feel like you can do the right thing, or you don't always have motivation in life.
Mm-hmm. Or even feel close to God all the time necessarily.
Right. You have to trust that He's got you and constantly be going back to Him.
Mm-hmm. I know that you've talked about how running is very much a mental sport as much as it is physical. It's that battle in the mind of, what can I do here? And I think the same thing with faith. It's a battle that there's so many things pulling you from God and attacking you mentally that, whether it's your feelings or whether it's some other distraction, that the victory takes place in your mind first. But that does kind of bring us to the next question, because even though running and faith definitely has a huge mental component, there is kind of the physical side too. So how does what you put in your body affect your performance?
Well, obviously, you need food to run on for a race or just running in general. And the timing and what food you eat is super important for having a good race or just going out for a run, and making sure you're constantly being hydrated so that you can have your best performance for running. And this is very similar to reading the Bible each day, because without that daily nutrients of God's word, you can't run the race.
Junk food doesn't really help you, huh?
No. But
Right.
at the same time, you kind of do burn it off. But yeah.
That's true. But you do need the nutrients at some point. Yeah, it seems like the same thing with faith, that what you expose yourself to, if it's a bunch of junk, it doesn't really move you closer to God. It actually starts to pull you away from God. Jesus even said, people don't live on bread alone, but really on every word that comes from God. The Bible, God's word, it really is our sustenance, really does help us each day to be able to get stronger and do what we need to do. It seems really like running's an individual sport, but I know competitive running really does actually involve a team, whether it's your running mates, your coaches, even your fans are kind of part of that whole effort. So what is that dynamic like? Individual and team balance, and how is that also true with faith?
Yeah, you're totally right. Running is definitely, there's a lot of individuality because each person running affects themselves mostly. But as a team, you have to work together, encourage each other, and train with each other to really build each other up to go for that goal, go for that win. And this is similar to our faith because each of us walks with Jesus individually, but we also come together in community as sort of a team of Christians, and we support each other and keep each other accountable. It really shows us the need for others while we have our own faith.
Maybe share an example of that, because I know you guys ran into that as a team when you pursued the state championship.
During my sophomore year, the seniors on our team really worked hard to bring us together. We were very successful during that season. After that, their legacy, in a sense, helped us to grow and to want to grow future generations of runners on our team. And this is important in our faith too, as we can help foster growth in other people that don't know as much about Jesus or are younger than us, and we can share what we know in our faith.
Kind of stepping back and looking at the big picture, I guess, this will be probably like the last question. What is your why in running? I mean, what is your drive, your motivation?
It's a very important question. I've found that God has given me such a good gift to run, and I see every opportunity to race as another opportunity to glorify Him. So I do my best in every race, and that's all I can do. We end up being very successful, which is a blessing. But along with that, I've had the opportunity to reach some of my teammates through my faith and through the connection of running. All this is just super awesome, how God blesses us with opportunity.
Yeah, it reminds me, in fact, in the book of Hebrews, the Bible even says that we're surrounded by witnesses, a huge crowd of witnesses that are witnessing the life of our faith. And so we should just throw off anything that slows us down, especially the sin that so easily trips us up, and run with endurance the race that God has set before us. So God marks out our race, and making goals and just working towards those goals and being consistent, like you said, are all super important. What we're really moving toward is Jesus. That's our destiny. In a sense, he is the finish line, but he's also the race, the process, the whole reason, your drive, your motivation, like you said, is to draw closer to him and to help others do the same.
Yeah.
So that's awesome. We can keep our eyes on Jesus because he's the champion who initiates our faith and perfects our faith. It's pretty cool. Well, thanks for joining me today, Weston. I've enjoyed watching you grow as a runner and as my son. But more importantly, it's been a blessing to see you run the race of faith. You've become a son of God, and your mom and I are blessed to be your parents and to help raise you up to love and to serve God and other people. We're so proud of you and who you are becoming as you follow Jesus. We love you.
Thank you.
So to wrap things up, I wanted to share a short poem that I wrote. I hope it inspires you to run for life, which is much more than exercise or a hobby or a vocation. Running for life is the race of faith that God has marked out for you as you follow Jesus. Keep running. In this new year, take your mark, set your soul, for the race ahead will take its toll. It's a marathon of faith, a test of the heart, where every step gained is a vital part. Consistency, my friend, is the runner's creed. Even when the spirit wanes and the flesh does bleed, when trials rise and you feel like you're done, still trust in God with each rising sun. Nourish the body with greens and grains, but feed the soul with holy refrains. The Bible is sustenance, divine and pure, for a race of faith that's meant to endure. Goals are the milestones along the way, marking progress lest you go astray. Each one a beacon in the grand design, guiding your path to the finish line. No runner alone wins the race. It's the team, the fellowship you embrace. We lift each other through trials, through fears, accountable together through sweat and tears. Be the beacon, the example to heed, for eyes are upon you in every deed. Run well, inspire, light the spark, for many will follow you out of the dark. The journey, the process, is where you grow, not just the finish or the end of the show. In each stride, a lesson, in each breath, a chance to draw closer to God, to advance. Intentional steps He's marked out with care, for the race is His, and He's always there. For in His footsteps you'll find your way, strategic and purposeful, come what may. This year, run by faith, run with might, for in Jesus you'll find blessed delight. He is the way, the truth, the life so dear. Run for His glory, the finish is near.